I bought a used Audi R8 V8 manual from auction with a seized engine, but after stripping it down, it could not be repaired. Please click on the top right hand corner and go and watch the videos up to date. So I bought a used second-hand engine and ended up stripping it all the way down to the bare bones to rebuild that as well. And it's a good job I did, because I found that the crank had already been ground down and required new bearings. So what I'm basically doing here is stripping the old engine and making one good engine out of two. I needed the crank from my engine to go in the new second-hand engine, if that makes sense. You can see here all the parts completely stripped down, pretty much from both engines, all new bearings, all ready to go in. And this is the process of me rebuilding the used engine with new parts. Head gasket going on, head going on, refurbished injectors, everything being rebuilt together. Including all new timing chains and tensioners. And finally we put the gearbox back on and put the wiring loom back on the engine, and that is us pretty much up to date. And we're so close and nearly ready for the engine to go back in. I've even got the car set up ready to push onto the ramp, but there is one thing hanging over from the last video that I need to do first. And if you watched the last video, you'll know that when I put the inlet manifold on, I found some debris in the chamber, and that debris was actually parts of piston, it turned out to be, and that is from when the engine failed before. When the pistons broke up, it shot through the intake and up into the manifold itself. I'll show you now because you can still see the debris. So we can see our inlet manifold here, look, and you can see where it protrudes and sits above the engine, and you've got these long chambers here that go up into the main inlet. And we can see, if we look in here, let me get a torch, and we can see the chambers here, look, so the air comes in through the intake flap motor and goes down the chambers into the engine. Now, if you can see here, see all them little bits of fragments? That is all bits of piston from when the engine failed previously, and I only noticed that as I put the manifold on. So the last thing I want is to start the engine for the first time, little bits of piston go into the inlet, and we have the same problem all over again. So I need to take the inlet back off and pressure wash it out, get all the debris out, and then we can refit it. Oh my God, I am glad that I've taken this off and split it apart to clean it, because yeah, it's bad. But yeah, you can see where I've split it, and you can tell which head blew up because you can see all the exhaust gas marks, all the black soot at the bottom of the inlet, whereas this side's nice and clean, look. But just look at this. Look at all that piston, all that damage, all that debris floating in the inlet. Look at that. There's so much. I cannot believe how much there is. Look, both sides as well. That is mad. So that needs a proper clean. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but that's come out way better than I thought, and that was very pleasing to clean. Look how good that has come out. Now, I don't know if you can see it on camera before, but that was absolutely thick with oil all in there, and now look at it, is all literally, I know you can't really see it very well, but it's perfectly clean there, and it's actually come out really, really well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up this side as well, and I'm also going to clean up the underside of the inlet, all in there, and I'll report back in a second with the final results. Just look at all the oil that's come out of that, and final results. But first of all, so look at that, look at that. Look how big that bit is. And all these shards, look, this is what fell out of the actual manifold itself when I blew it out and cleaned it all out, look. All them bits of debris, it's mad. Look at that! Look at that! Jesus. And all that as well, look. Look, I cannot believe how much debris has come out of that manifold. But look at the results. So look how beautiful clean it is now. All down the tubes, all perfectly clean. And the manifold itself, inside, is pretty much brand new now. Just look at that. all debris completely removed. So yeah, we can now put it all back together and get it back on. Right, I've just gone ahead and cleared a space, got the engine nicely suspended, nice and even. I've pretty much got everything on the front. So this is going to be the part of the engine that's up against the bulkhead, so I need to get everything attached here that I can. And I think I'm pretty much there. The only thing that's not attached are things that are going into the bulkhead, like the AC pipe. I've got some coolant pipes on the bottom, they all plug in. Another coolant pipe there. There are parts that are already in the car that will have to plug into it. So I can't see anything else. So the last thing we need to do before I push the car onto the ramp is just fit our engine mounts. I have one here ready. Obviously I couldn't do that until the engine was suspended because the mounts protrude past the bottom of the engine, so I just wouldn't be able to put them in place. But I'm just going to put them in both sides now, and yeah, we'll get her in. Come on. So this is my new shiny, nice 300-pound oil cooler pipe, one of two, and I believe they are both common problems on the V8 just because of where the pipe sits in the wheel well. I'm hoping I just need this one. The other one doesn't look great either, but the other one is slightly more accessible to replace once the engine's in. So we'll fit this in place, and fingers crossed for the other one.
Because I had the engine so far forward on the crane, I had to have it so high in the air, it was making it very difficult to try and push on and try and line everything up. But as always, I made a mistake.
Yeah, I've just checked my video back when I removed the engine, and I took that oil pipe out before I removed the engine, which means it's definitely going to be stuck where it is. So I'm going to have to pull the engine back out, take the oil pipe out, and refit the engine, and then put the oil pipe in. I told you it would be coming out. I mean, luckily I haven't got that far just yet.
So luckily I didn't have to pull the engine out too far to get that pipe back off, and we can push it all the way back in now and get it located. And actually it went in better than I thought, but here comes mistake number 2.
And my first problem, look, I cannot get my drive shaft on. The way it sits, there is no movement at all in the drive shaft, so I cannot get it over the coupling to the gearbox. I'm gonna have to take the whole thing back out, move it forward an inch, and then try and line those back up when getting it back in. Fantastic. Right, I've finally got the engine now in position, and we've got our prop shaft nicely located where it should be. I do have to just bolt it. I'll probably just bolt it on with 2 bolts because that's going to make a racket when the engine starts. Now, I've also got my engine mounts in, so I've put all 4 bolts in. For the engine, the gearbox is on, it actually sits on the thread, so that's already located. It's just a case, if you can see, of putting the nuts on. So that's all sorted. So the gearbox, engine, all in position. Now I need to work out what I can do for the minimal to get this thing started. Now, annoyingly, this operates a dry sump system, which means I've got the oil tank, which I'm gonna have to fully connect up the oil tank and everything to get the oil into the engine to then circulate it when we try and start it. So that's a bit of a pain. But yeah, it's just getting everything like minimalistic to get it started. Like, don't have to worry about the gear linkage cables, but I need to get my earths on. I've got another earth here I need to connect up. Coolant pipes, power steering. I don't have to worry about any of that for the moment. Aircon, can leave all that. But yeah. I'm gonna have to bring it back down, because I'm going to have to connect up the ECUs as well, which is a pain. So I'm just going to have wires everywhere. But we need to get it started before I even bother putting it all back together.
So first of all, I needed to get rid of this massive wiring loom on top of the engine. So went straight into the fun of trying to feed that all through the bulkhead, which took a while. And also then reverting back to my pictures I took on my phone of the orientation of all the relays, etc. Next, I need to fit my intake flap motors, which went fairly well each side, and finally get my oil pipe located along with the oil tank, plumb all the oil lines in just to make sure there's no leaks.
So I think we're nearly there. Everything fluid wise apart from coolant and the power steering pumps are all connected up. So I've connected all my gear box pipes, so I don't want gearbox oil being pumped everywhere. There's no power steering fluid because that is in a bottle over there somewhere, so there shouldn't be any of that leaking. There's no coolant in it, so that shouldn't be any of that leaking. Oil tank is all installed, got all my pipes in, new pipe here, look. So that's all done. I've just connected all my breathers up as well, just so there's no problems with the vac system, etc. ECUs I have plugged in, just loosely plugged them in and left on the side. I've just used any old place for the earths at the moment, so just so that earthed out. I think we are just about ready to go into the front, plug everything in up front. Remember to connect my ghost wire, because I keep forgetting this has got ghost. We need to make sure that all works so the engine will turn over. Then we'll pour a load of oil into the oil tank. Remember to disconnect the fuel. So for us to be able to circulate oil and just make sure everything's turning over fine, I do not want any fuel injecting into the engine because I don't want it to try and start. So I just need to get that initial prime with the oil. Again, make sure everything's okay. I've taken all the spark plugs out. I've undone them all. They're all loose. I just need to pull them out the chambers. So there should be no compression on the engine as well. So yeah, let's continue up front. Right, new oil filter, 7 litres of oil roughly. Starting up the diagnostic computer, plugged in here. So what I just need to do, I have had a quick Google, and apparently those 2 relays, which I've just unplugged again, are to do with the fuel pump. So I've just unplugged those, put them down there, so that should disconnect the fuel. I've got my jump pack on the front, so I'm just gonna connect that up, turn the ignition on, go through, make sure there's not any major codes that will stop the car from starting, basically just to clear everything down, check all the codes, make sure there's no obvious things, and then yeah, we can go. I need to whip the spark plugs all out just with a magnet, and then yeah, we can go for a turnover. I'm gonna have a host of issues, so I just need to ignore most of them, or all of them to start with. I'll clear and come back. I think there's 2 ECUs on this as well. I know there's 2 ECUs on this. Alright. There you go. So let's get rid of all of them. Now I need to go into ECU 2. ECM there. Get rid of all them as well. Clear. Cool. If we go back to ECM 1. And that's all there is, like air intake, temp, so yeah, that's fine. If we go back into 2 as well now, that should show any active faults. Oh, no active faults. I think it's time we turned her over. Right, so got me ghost, so left window up, right window twice, okay. Right. So I'm gonna have to get in. Ow! It's not working. Right, so I've had to plug both those relays back in because I get nothing in the engine bay without them. So I've just disconnected the fuel line and put a little jug there to catch the fuel instead. So I'm hoping that may give me something. So let's just try left, right, left, right. Alright, tried to turn over them, but I don't think I've got enough battery. Right, it's now the next day. I've got a brand new battery installed. So wish me luck, and now, yeah, let's try and turn it over. So as I've mentioned, I can't actually find a way to isolate the fuel from coming out. Can't find the module, and also I can't find the connection for the fuel pump. I don't know where it actually is. Can't find a fuse either, so I'm just letting it drain into this little pot here, and yeah, or just put it back in the fuel tank when it's full. So, right. Left, right, left, right. Oh, she's turning over. Well, oh my God, I'm full. Look how quick that filled up. I'm now at that very nervous stage where I'm fully aware I need to plug the spark plugs, coil packs in, connect the fuel up and try and start this thing. And I'm just standing here just thinking, oh, I'm just trying to delay the inevitable, because it's always, this is a very, very nerve-wracking moment. It's the moment that the whole series builds up to, and it's going to be very loud as well. So chances of trying to hear something bad are going to be quite hard because of how loud it's going to be. So I'm doing it now. Look, I'm just trying to delay the inevitable. Oh, come on. Let's just send it. Come on.
So as I said, I just need to fit all 8 spark plugs, all 8 coil packs, plug everything back in, and also connect my fuel line up and do that up tight as well.
I have just turned the ignition on to get fuel pressure, just to double check there's no fuel leaks, because that would be very upsetting if I'd left a fuel union loose, because there'd just be fuel spitting everywhere in there. But luckily I can't hear or see anything, so yeah, it's time to give it a go. It's going to be very loud. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Right, okay. Might just be getting fuel through. Whew, I'm nervous. My heart is beating an absolute... Right. Oh, okay. I'm literally just shaking. Oh, can't even hold the camera still. I'm a mess. Getting closer. Come on, fire up. It's not going, is it? Could be injected. I mean, we are getting closer and closer, so it could just be cleaning everything out. Come on. Clear up. We're getting better and better. So I don't know if you've got a fuel problem. Just have a look. I mean, it's getting better and better. I think we should keep going, possibly. I mean, this has had a full rebuild, obviously. So. Right, so it's taken a while to start, which is understandable. This has had a complete full rebuild. The reason for the amount of smoke out the right-hand bank here is because obviously that exhaust filled with oil when the engine originally failed, so there will just be a load of oil on the inside of that, so that will just take a little while to burn off. I mean, the left bank's not really doing it at all. It sounds good on initial startup. It's running a little bit lumpy on idle, but every start it gets better and better. So I just think it's just a case of flushing all the crap out of the system and just getting a clean bit of ignition, everything ready, really. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pause. I'm just going to check everything. I'm going to just take the oil filter housing out just to make sure there's oil in there. So we've got oil pressure, etc. And then I think I'm going to leave it today actually. So I'm going to leave it there for today's video, guys. It starts, it runs, a little bit lumpy. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that'll just be, as I said, because it just needs a few more starts and running a little bit more. Haven't touched the throttle yet either at all. There's no coolant. The air system, the vac system's not connected in any way, so it's not going to run perfectly with so much stuff missing from it. Really happy, I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is drawing to a close, the R8, and I think I'm happy. I'm not 100%. I don't know. Once it's up and running properly, then I'll be happy. I'm just holding back at the minute. I'm reserving judgment until it's running properly. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. And in the next video, I'm going to do a bit of a garage update and announce something smaller that's coming to the channel as well. So cheers, guys.